All right, my name is Darin Dohi and I'm with Seeker Fishing Rods. I'm the general manager here and I am here to give you a little tour of our facility, so come on in. Okay, so this is where a rod begins its life. All the materials that we use come off of a roll. It's flat stock. We use both fiberglass and graphite. We have two types of fiberglass, one being an E-glass, one being S-glass, which is actually called superglass. They're resin impregnated materials that come from our refrigeration. It's all stored at below freezing to keep it from starting to cure. We bring it out here, we roll it out, and cut it into patterns. This would be an example of the pattern. This is one of our graphite patterns here. This is actually 120 gram graphite. Unlike any other material that's used in a fishing rod anywhere else with any other manufacturer, instead of using like an IM, a very lightweight, thin fiber, we're using a very heavyweight military spec fiber to add strength, to add rigidity to the rod, recoil, and that's what makes Seeker a Seeker rod. So this is a 120 gram graphite. As you can see, hopefully you can see it in the camera there, it's longitudinally laid. It's actually fiber that's laid out from bottom to top, cut into these triangular patterns, laid up in the roll as we roll up the rods. So let me take you over here. This operation, what we have going on here is they're pulling the panels of fiberglass and attaching them to the mandrel. They're actually tacking the fiberglass to the stainless steel mandrels. You can see that these are treated with a mold release so that once the fiberglass is cured up in the oven, it'll come off the mandrel. But he's literally taking an iron to that material and attaching it to the stainless steel mandrel. Looks kind of like a spear. That's what makes the inside of the mold for the rod itself. That's what gives it its taper. The taper makes it give it its action, and you can see that it takes a little bit of time to get that thing attached properly. If it doesn't get attached properly to the mandrel, what's going to happen is it's going to have a condition called loose tack. The loose tack area of the rod is going to be very weak, and ultimately it's going to have a tendency to fail there. So we take a lot of time in attaching the material to the mandrel so that we don't have any loose tack situations. The same mandrel actually could be used for several different models of blank based on taper, but some, like this one, is tacked back away from the tip about 4 inches. There are others that'll be tacked all the way up to the tip, directly at the tip. That changes the action of the blank, changes where the bend is going to be, and depending on how many flags of material, it will totally change the way the rod feels in hand using the same tooling. Through the process, what we're going to do is we're going to take this attached flag of material onto the rolling table. Now you'll notice that each of these operations is done by hand. We literally are building every single rod by hand. Everything is set in place by hand and operated. All the machines are operated by hand. We don't have any automation here. So these guys, obviously, with them creating these blanks over time, they're really a skilled technician, and knowing when to start and stop the machine, how much to roll on the machine before placing the second flag in. Each one of those operations, it requires some knowledge of how that rod is supposed to be built. There's lift poles, commercial tuna rods, build all kinds of different things on this particular table here. This is the heavy duty table. This is all of our tooling. We've got tons and tons of different stainless steel mandrels that we use in this operation. Some of them very heavy, some of them relatively light. We have tooling for freshwater applications. We've got tooling for, of course, saltwater applications, and also our commercial tubular composite work that we do. And this is our cellophane and nylon taping operation. He'll take the fresh rolled blank where you can see the raw exposed edges of the glass still haven't been compressed completely onto the blank. He's going to wrap it with two types of material at pressure. So it's one is a nylon tape, one's a cellophane tape. And if you get in close there, you'll be able to literally see that material start to compress as the tape rolls on. As it goes through its final compression through the rolling of the tape, you're essentially making the outside of the mold for the blank using the tape. The inside of the mold is the mandrel, and so that's what creates the consistent wall thickness of the blank. We're going to be extracting the mandrels from freshly baked blanks. This cart of blanks has just come out of our oven. The resin has flowed and cured, making a monolithic blank now. So instead of it being layers and layers of glass, it's all one piece. So you can see, he'll set that rod into that mandrel into the extraction device. It'll literally pull the mandrel out of the butt end of the blank. It'll come up to temperature, then it'll bake, and then they'll like flash it at a higher temperature for an extra hour. So it depends on what the actual bake cycle needs to be for the particular material. Here, once they pull all the tape off, once it's been baked in the oven, it comes out. We'll strip all the tape off of it, removing the outer layers. Once those blanks are stripped of all the tape, they get set out for dry sanding, which Albert Hernandez is doing here. He started as a very young man, worked in every different operation. Now he's doing our finish sanding. He does the dry sanding here. Sergio does the wet sanding to do a finished surface to the blank. And then they're actually going to be surface coating them later on today. So basically what he's doing is he's taking all the ridges of the blank off. And I'll show you one of those in just a second. But they're knocking all the hard edges of the tape marks off of the resin coat. You can see that it doesn't have a very smooth surface. This is actually pre-sanding, and it is, in fact, this is the strongest state of the blank that you could possibly have. Before you sand it, before you do anything to the blank, when it comes off the mandrel and all the tape comes off, that is the strongest that this blank could possibly be. Now you'll see sometimes in the industry, some of the blank manufacturers, whether they're overseas or here in the United States, they'll actually use a very rough finish like this, and it's because they want to add as much strength into their blank as possible. Because we're using a heavy-duty, very high tensile strength material, we're actually able to take this down, sand it down, and finish it so that we can coat it. Here at Seeker, to finish all the rods, what we do is we have a squeegee system to coat the blanks. This one's actually a two-part coating. We use a gold color base coat and then a translucent green top coat. You can see it's got a very, very glossy finish, and it's almost like a candy apple green color. Not all of our rods use a two-part finishing system, but this one being one of our Alabama rig rods, this one gets coated with a two-part paint system. You can see down here that this would be the raw graphite material. We leave it raw because it's typically better to bond the reel seat to a raw surface rather than a coated surface. So we leave the bottom sections raw because the handles are going to go over them anyway. This is our kitting department. Basically here what we do is we assemble all the handles that come out of the Seeker Rods company. Everything, again, like in the blank department, is done by hand. We have technicians that have been with us for 15 years, 16, 17, 18 years. And each one of our grips is pulled down by hand. We use Hypalon or EPDM foam. We use EVA foam, cork tape, butt cord, even cold shrink and heat shrink tube. So we have a very, very wide variety of handle types. And Typically we'll be doing anywhere from 50 to 100 handle kits every day. This is my favorite room in the entire shop. This is where the ladies work. This is where all of it comes together. All the important stuff is done here. If you come over here and you take a look, this is Cody. She has been working with us for 16 years, and she is responsible for putting on by hand every single label, decal, fish decal, model number on every rod that we produce. Then Hilda is here. She aligns all the guides. Everything, again, is done by hand. She inspects them, each and every rod. Every rod that comes through our shop goes through her hands. She straightens out the guides to make sure that all the wraps are proper, they're all straight, and she gets them ready for coating. Today we're working on a bunch of our new freshwater bass rods, the React Pro series. So you'll see that they're wrapped with very simple black wraps. They have the number 4 micro guides built by Fuji, and we have a very lightweight package here, you know, hook keeper, graphite reel seat, EVA rear grip, and then the butt cap is actually the bottom of the split grip, and that's put on last. Once all the decals have been applied, once the guides have been straightened, everything is ready to go, Emma, who has also been here for years and years, she is the one who puts the coating on the wraps. So you'll see most of the time when you're dealing with coating guides, the process might take a while. For a custom builder like myself, I was accustomed to taking an hour, hour and 15, hour and 30 to put all the coating on the guides. Well, these ladies are so good in here, they'll use a gigantic brush that I'm not comfortable with, like a 1-inch painting brush, and putting the finish on in like 5-10 minutes for a complete rod. So you can tell that they are extremely talented. They are great at what they do, and they certainly are able to do things a lot faster than I do. Each drum is 75 rods. Typically what they'll do is they'll stage it, first coat on the bottom drum, second coat on the top drum, so it continues to flow. As they come off the top drum, the bottom rods go up to the next stage, and then the others will come off. We get a ton of coating done every day. We go through gallons and gallons of rod finish. CR 809, cork grips, traditional guides, but what we're actually moving toward is using our Alabama rig rod for throwing the big trout baits, 8-foot. Yeah, nice light tip, but it's got enough power that you'd be able to fight whatever size fish. You know, if you're fishing those 20-30 pound stripers, it's not going to be a problem. So this is the final stage. As the rods come out of the coating room, they're all finished up, they're ready to go. The carts are wheeled over here, and Veronica, she takes care of getting the butt caps or the gimbals all set in place, aligned to the right angle, you know, straight with the guides, and she'll set them up all glued up, ready to be finished. Once they're cured, once the epoxy's cured on the butt cap or the gimbal, she'll clean the rod, put the warranty tags on, and she'll bag up each and every rod. So that would be the last step in the production process. Once Vero's taking care of it and it's all bagged up, it's ready to be shipped to the stores. This is just an example of some of the work that our ladies can do. Now, this is the final product. It came through our shop, from the flat material to the blank, from the blank to the handle kit department, from the handles to the wrapping, and wrapping to finish. So this is not one that you're going to see out on the showroom floor. This one was actually built for me by the team here, and they actually put the decorative wrap right on there, and this is a perfect duplication of my own custom wrap that I would have built for myself. So our folks are awfully talented. They can do just about everything. Unfortunately, we don't offer custom rod building services through Seeker, but they certainly have the ability. Here's all of our working inventory. You can see here that we have the Stealths up front. As you work your way to the back, we have some of the Super Seekers and Black Steels. We've got our East Coast series, our trout rods. Some of our bass rods are even in the back there. And as you pan around this way, all of our long stuff, for anybody who's interested in our Seeker jig sticks, this is where they all stage up for us to ship out to your stores. You're frustrated once you get the finish on and it's all dry, you're like, yeah. Time to go fishing.